Lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From the original Walk-Ons, Burbank at Nicholson, welcome to the Thursday edition of Live at Lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro here. Jordan Kitchens back in the studio. Our Vegas trio. Dwayne Colucci with us today. Matt Humans with us today. Kenny White with us today. A lot of college basketball from last night. Record-setting golf this morning in Palm Beach. And the NFL Combine going on. A big weekend coming up. Jimmy, good morning.
How are you? Good morning, sir. Good.
I'm doing
fine,
good.
Minus a 55-footer at the buzzer. Good to take a beat last night. So congratulations, Charlie. You are a lucky man. This is your lucky weekend this weekend.
Led the whole way.
55-footer at the buzzer.
That was lucky. That was lucky. No argument.
Really? I don't care how you got there.
No argument about the 55.
You weren't worried about overtime at all, huh? No problem.
I was very worried.
Yeah,
I was very worried about overtime. Sure. Absolutely.
Tell me a further shot that won it at the end this year.
No, that was a lucky shot at the end. No,
it was a good one.
No doubt. I give him credit. I mean, you don't see many like that for sure, especially when. I mean, gosh, I was hoping Maryland made the shot, actually. I mean, that would have been fine.
Of course.
That would have been fine for the.
You're pulling for when you bet or sweat overtime?
Yeah, it's not like I care if Michigan State wins or not.
Thanks for clarifying that.
So news today out of the Combine and out of LSU/Saints. It's not often that these two trains shall meet, but this morning a story that was broken by Nick Underhill of New Orleans football that Bo Davis will be leaving LSU as a defensive line coach and heading to New Orleans in the same position. This under every circumstance qualifies as a major surprise. Davis just returned to LSU last season. He was on a record-breaking contract for a defensive line coach, a 3-year deal worth just a little over $4 million. It included 6-figure annual raises. And Davis, in his first season with LSU, proved his worth. The defensive interior got better. The two freshmen, as the season went along, and Ahmad Bro and Dominic McKinley really made some strides. Davis was doing a yeoman's job in recruiting by all accounts. So for him to leave at this point, 10 days before the start of spring practice is a major blow for LSU. There's no other way to spin it. I don't care who they hire. I don't care how they finish it. This is a blow. It's a nice move for New Orleans. They get a guy who's been a lot of different places in both college and the NFL, and it's a very good hire for them. But it does beg the question of why. It's not like Davis didn't know the LSU landscape. He went to school here. He's been a coach here before, and he certainly knows about coaching in the Southeastern Conference. He's been at Alabama. He was at Texas, so he knows what the demands are of college football. He knows what the demands of recruiting are. He's one of the very best in the country, and he decided that he wanted to go back to the NFL. Again, the timing, I understand New Orleans' timing of it. They just got a coach late in the cycle, and they're still putting together a staff. But that Davis would leave LSU is a big surprise to me, and I think to a lot of people today.
Well, what's the money?
They don't know. They don't have to.
Until you know that, because
I don't think that it's significantly. I don't know. Okay, I'm not gonna tell you that I know, but they don't have to release. I don't think he took less, Jimmy, but I don't think he took significantly more. I mean, this is a pretty healthy contract for a position coach. I mean, it was the biggest. Is it more in New Orleans? Maybe, but I don't. I don't think they doubled his salary or anything like that.
I don't think you can ask a guy to load up and move for less money.
I would be surprised if the money was the reason that he left. Like if they came and made him a godfather.
Why are the college coaches getting out of the college game?
That's a good question, okay? College coaches are getting out of the college game because the recruiting arena is different now. You got to recruit your own roster as much as the other rosters. You got to essentially act as an agent. You got NIL deals. You got how much compensation, all of that. But Davis knew all of that a year ago when he took this job. Okay,
it's not like that's why did he take this job? They gave him a lot more money.
They gave him a lot more money.
Okay,
so if the Saints just came and gave him they gave him $8 million instead of $4.
No, but Charlie, if he can get more or a little bit more he's a veteran coach.
Yes.
Okay, the veteran coaches are the ones that are tired of the new landscape. The 24/7, 365 recruiting.
Yeah.
Recruiting your own roster. I mean, so if he...
I get why college coaches
he's
are
a veteran coach. How long has he been doing this?
He's 52 years old, so 54 years
25
old.
25 years,
yeah,
at least.
Yes.
Okay, so
but he knew all of that a year ago. It's not like he chose.
Did he have an offer from the NFL a year ago like this?
He may not have had this offer, but I'm quite certain with all the time he spent in the league, he was with 3 different teams in the league, and not terribly long ago. He was in the league as recently as 2020. I think if he'd wanted to pursue an NFL job, he would have done it.
Well, why was he brought here?
He was brought here to stabilize what has been a wildly unstable position. The next defensive line coach the Tigers hire will be their 8th since 2020.
Okay, but also because of recruiting.
Yes. He's a very good coach. He's the perfect coach because he is a terrific on-the-field coach, and he is a terrific recruiter. You get a twofer with Bo Davis.
But what was lacking? I mean, he had to pick up where Kelly was weak.
Yeah, they needed recruiting. Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
if he says, "Yeah, I'll coach on the field only," that's it. I'm not recruiting. They would have never hired him.
No,
okay? Of course.
It was a twofer. Absolutely.
But maybe maybe just the veteran coaches, man. Tony Bennett knew the rule, but he quit right before the season started. I mean, Hamilton and Larinaga quit. I mean, just the guys. Saban quit. I mean, there's a lot of veteran coaches. It's not the young guys, but also the one thing is he's gone from a veteran coach in the college ranks to a very, very young, inexperienced NFL coach. So I don't know how he could put as much faith in how he knows Kellen Moore is going to act because he doesn't know and nobody knows how he's going to handle his business. But he's gone away from the recruiting game. And I got to believe that, he's just, man, why when I could just coach and not do this? I don't think it's I'm curious what the money is. Just how much more. It can't be less. It can't be.
I wouldn't think it's less, but I would be surprised if it was significantly more. I mean,
so you're answering your own question. If it's not significantly more, he's going to because what's the big difference? He doesn't have to recruit, and he was being leaned on a lot for recruiting.
I hope it's that simple. I really do. And I don't want to go all conspiracy theory, but if Bo Davis had wanted to pursue an NFL job,
he's choosing not to work for Brian Kelly. So, for whatever reason,
he's choosing not to work for Brian Kelly at LSU. Yes.
Brian Kelly is, and he knows the landscape at LSU.
That's what I'm saying. If he wanted to pursue an NFL job, he could have done that from Texas. There was no reason to work in an extra move. I think that he came here with the idea that he would be here for longer than a year.
Yeah, but
I don't think he's been looking his job hopper. Now, they may have come with a Godfather offer that he couldn't refuse.
Keep in mind what I told you back when he left, too, while I was surprised. He had a great relationship with Sarkisian.
It took. They tried to hire him the year before.
It
got
took multiple offers. No, they had to up the bid.
Yeah.
Okay, they had to come back and basically pull him out more in South Florida. No,
right.
we're gonna go until you say yes. And okay, so but no, he's leaving Brian Kelly's staff at one of the highest paid position coaches he had, but he's also going for how much is it? How much is it? He doesn't like working for Brian Kelly. And 2, he's tired of the nonstop recruiting, even your own.
I hope it's as simple as they gave him too much money to turn down, or he wanted to get out of the college game. I hope it's not, and I don't know. Okay, I hope it's not. Man, I got to LSU, and I didn't like what I saw, so I bolted because they gave him everything he wanted. I mean, when you go back that many times, when you finally say yes, you got everything you wanted.
Well,
And it's
it's a blow to LSU and Brian Kelly because, I mean.
massive blow.
No, but I'm talking about as far as, it doesn't take a whole lot of inside information. Man, you gave me the kitchen sink, and I'm leaving.
Right.
No, I mean, that's the factual part of it.
I would rather somebody tell me, good God, did you see the contract they offered him in New Orleans? And we don't know that number
He's
yet.
making more. It's just,
Yeah, but you don't leave for a little bit more unless you're unhappy. You leave for a lot more, but you don't leave for a little bit more. You make three
Charlie,
moves
to
in
be
3
fair
years.
for Kelly, I mean, this is a common move for a veteran college coach. Nobody enjoys that, man. And the guys that have been doing it the longer are the ones that are saying, man, I'm going to retire early. I'm going to move on. To have a great opportunity an hour down the road?
Yeah, the rule changed in 21 with NIL. That was his first year at Texas. If he had spent 21, 22, and 23 at Texas and said, you know what, new landscape, I don't like this. To hell with this. I'm going to the NFL.
Yeah, but Charlie, what he was making at Texas, they were not going to get an NFL offer like he has now because they know what he's making at LSU, and they know what they need to offer him to get him to move. You understand? So LSU drove up the price. His stock rose as his salary rose. So Kellen Moore's late in the game too. So, and we know
they are late in the game.
And Miss Gale is going to give him the money. Is she not? She's not going to go cheap.
They've been pretty good with staff salary.
Oh, man, what are they going to do?
They've been okay down there.
That part of it, the support of the owner, no, that you can't question that. So, but what do you do? I mean, Brian Kelly is the one that's struggling as a veteran coach, and it just kind of, I mean, it's a blow to him. I mean, because what are they going to offer the next D-line coach? Not what they're paying him.
Depends on who they hire. If they try to go, and I would imagine have to be in the off season, deeper into the off season, they go try to hire a big time defensive line coach.
So why so many coaches? What's your theory there as far as defensive line coaches? How many is it now?
The next one will be 8.
In a 6-year span? 5?
Yeah, since 2020.
Your theory?
Some of it has been bad hires, and some of it's been bad luck. You had one guy got sick. Then you had a coaching change in the middle of that. A couple of the guys just weren't very good. It hasn't all been just one thing. You've gone through multiple coaches. You've gone through multiple defensive coordinators. Like I said, one guy got sick. Some of this. One guy went to the NFL. With the Broncos, Kane. So it's not all one thing. I don't know. For the moment, I think that Kevin Peoples, spring starts here on the 8th. I would think that Kevin Peoples will take a bigger role. They'll maybe move an analyst or one of the GAs or something up to help out in spring. And I don't know what they, decide to do.
Is this the first, though, for the Saints to hire an LSU coach? Osborne worked for the Saints before he came to LSU.
I got to think about that one.
I think it is.
Off the staff, it might be. It might be. That one would require that one would require some thought. The speculation is going to turn to Eric Henderson, who is from Carr. Went to Carr.
Yeah, played at LSU.
Played at Georgia Tech.
Oh no, he went to. Okay, my bad.
Eric
I'm thinking of the other.
He's a coach at USC. Right now, he is a big reason that they have recruited in Louisiana the way that they have. But I don't know that you can, and they made a pass at him 2 cycles ago. I forget exactly when it was. He would be somebody that you would pay a bunch of money to, but that's just speculation. Just because he's got some Louisiana ties. I don't know. For the moment, I think that Kevin Peoples, who coached the ends last year and did a really good job coaching the ends, and has coached the whole defensive line before, will take over most of those responsibilities.
Okay, but and let's play devil's advocate here as far as, okay, is it a big loss as far as recruiting because the old school recruiters, are they that important? Or are they that effective anymore when everybody just wants to know what the bottom line is?
Yeah, how much money do you have? Best defensive lineman in the state's at Carr. Okay, so there is something to the Louisiana tie there, but yeah. It's not your facilities anymore. It's not as much your relationship with the coaches anymore. It's how much money do you have? Are the old school recruiters, the guys Frank Wilson? That's a reasonable question. I think the answer is a lot less than it used to be.
Oh, it's less.
Lot less than it used to be. I mean, Joe.
It's still important. They still play a role.
Joe Sloan was almost paying property taxes in Michigan. He spent so much time there with Underwood. And a week before, it was like, hey, somebody offered me, more money. Thanks, but I'm out of here. The facilities used to be the big thing.
Not everybody's an Underwood situation.
Underwood's a special case.
From Michigan, the 3-hour flight away.
I grant you Underwood's a special case, but money talks. And
always has.
Hey, really nice facility. I love the bowling alley and the waterfall. Where's my money? Okay, yeah. I love that this coach went to the same high school as me. Where's my money? That's all anyone want to know. Where's my money? So that's it is what it is. But this is a blow for LSU. It's a good hire for the Saints. I mean, the guy's been a good defensive line coach. So just 10 days before spring, that wasn't in the game plan.
How impactful can defensive line coaches be in the NFL? How big was the Lions defensive line coaches? I mean, are the Eagles?
Most of those.
Can you name him?
No. Okay. Most of the NFL position coaches are anonymous. Okay, they think he's impactful enough to offer him more money than LSU was, and LSU was paying him plenty of money. So they must think
she's gonna give him a budget. He's not gonna be. He gonna have a high, especially for the timing that they hired him. I hope he negotiated that even more. But he's so wet behind the ear. Who knows? I mean, one thing is, there's some more than Saints news, huh?
There's a lot more Saints news. I stewed all the way to my Kings meeting last night. Okay, yeah. There's more.
What, Charlie Brown? You kicked and fell on your ass again, huh? You kicked and fell on your ass again. Didn't you?
I want a whole segment, so tell me about the new menu items. I want a whole segment, okay? I don't want to be squeezed on this. We got some new stuff here, Walker.
Try to tell you, boy. The ribeye sliders are coming, and we're going to sample them today over here. Starting Monday at all locations of walk-ons all across the land. New menu items, we're going to trickle them out a few at a time. And one that's going to be out at every location starting Monday, the ribeye sliders, sliced ribeye, topped with the Swiss cheese, caramelized onions, Dijon horseradish, and garlic aioli. So, man, we're excited about that over here at Walk-On. So we'll be able to test them. But you've got all your Walk-On's favorites. And look, the more popular items, they're not going anywhere on the menu. But the lower moving items, we're going to slide them over and kind of move some others in. So exciting over here. Of course, we're open all through the weekend. If you're to and from some of the Mardi Gras festivities and things like that, don't forget us over here at Walk-Ons, the original Walk-Ons in the shadows of Tiger Stadium.
Live at Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Get the show on demand, LouisianaSports.net, 104.5ESPN.com. Mickey Loomis meeting with the media yesterday at the Combine in Indianapolis. The biggest takeaways are, feel fortunate to have Derek Carr here, big-time quarterback in this league, blah, blah, etc. Looks like Carr is going to stick around. Sport Track just kind of speculating a little bit about what Carr's contract extension, and they have to extend him, otherwise there's no way to, keep the cap number straight. They got to, same old crap, take some of his compensation, put it to bonus. If their numbers are anywhere close to right, a full roster bonus conversion frees up $31 million in space, but it creates nearly $60 million in dead cap next year if they were to move on from him, which will be tough again. Loomis also said the Saints will be active in free agency much more than they were a year ago, so there is no indication that they will change quarterbacks, that they will change their approach to the cap. Go ahead.
You said same old crap.
Yeah, same old crap.
But that wasn't what you were saying previously.
I was hopeful. I was hopeful with a new coach that there would be a change in thinking. And you said Mickey Loomis is going to do what he wants to do, and I figured that would be the thing, but I thought I would be optimistic. It lasted almost a week. So I'm done. I'm done. You know. They are going to do, despite the fact.
At what point did the season ticket holders say we had enough?
Well, they raised the prices on them a couple weeks ago, so there's another.
That's real tone deaf of marketing.
For a team that finished, with 5 wins last year, for a team that Derek Carr's been about a 500 quarterback with, that had no All-Pro players, nobody on the Pro Bowl team, nobody on the All-Rookie team, nobody in ESPN's top 100 on offense or defense. They had a special teams guy in the Pro Bowl, JT Gray. Other than that. That has one of the poorest drafting records in the last 5 years in the NFL, that has the worst salary cap situation in the NFL by far, and Mickey Loomis and has the worst odds, or tied for the worst odds to win the Super Bowl next year.
Who's most responsible for that?
And Mickey Loomis is the most responsible for all of that. Shots. And he's calling the shots, and he has immunity. So with all of those, everything I just told you.
And the owner's chummy with him, right? Basically family.
Yeah, Chummy's being kind. Okay, so he's unfireable.
And why we expect differently?
Because I chose to be optimistic for a week.
This is what you came up with on the ride to the King's dinner.
It's fixed. I'm done. You are on the Loomis train. I don't know, forever.
Until he is done, I can't. I'm not setting myself up to be pissed off.
Right.
I mean, I'm not.
No,
as a season ticket holder, I mean, these people still. I'm watching Mayo's spread. Was it spread quarters or whatever on Sunday night? I mean, and people are like so upset and so this. I can't wait for this Sunday night. Is he going to do another one? I got to make sure.
I'm sure he does.
Maybe in between doing Bacchus. Is Bacchus Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's taking his Sunday off. I don't know, but I mean, it's. You are a compromised, or you are in the, let's say, Carolina category now, the Cardinals category, the.
He's going to keep doing things his way, no matter. No, in the face of overwhelming evidence. I just laid it all out. Players, right? The whole thing. In the face of overwhelming evidence, he's going to tell you we're right there, and. You can't do anything like. I thought yesterday. I said I'm trying to find a comp, and it was right in front of me. I said, this guy's LeVar Ball, who averaged 2 points a game in high school. Tell you he can beat Michael Jordan one-on-one, and believes it. Okay, but it's not that. He's Les Miles. Les Miles, who had a lot of success here, and the Saints have had a tremendous amount of success with Mickey Loomis as a general manager, whether he gets credit or not. A lot of success, but at the end. More people had disdain for Les Miles than appreciated the wins that he had, which included a national championship. Why? Because in the face of overwhelming evidence of the change in college football, he refused to modernize the offense, and eventually it cost him his job. And so now, Les Miles' legacy, correct me if I'm wrong here, among most LSU fans, is not appreciative of the things he did well, and he brought breathtaking talent. It's that guy just simply could not get it through his head that he had to change. And Mickey Loomis is going to go down the same way. That no matter the Saints won a Super Bowl with him as general manager, they won countless playoff games that they had never won before, and when they close the book on Mickey Loomis, whenever that is, it'll be that guy would not get it through his head that the way he was doing it was wrong, and everybody else was right. That's it. That's my comp. That is my one and only rant for the offseason. I mean, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
I am too. I was done before.
You were done before.
I was done before.
Congratulations, you beat me by 2 weeks or whatever.
That's all. It's standard operation.
I just chose to be optimistic for.
Why don't we let Max because the younger people aren't as bitter and and crotchety. I'm glad. Welcome to the crew, Charlie. I mean, how can you have faith in Mickey Loomis? This guy said that Dennis Allen was on his way to Chuck Noll and Bill Belichick.
I know.
I mean, what freaking idiot says that in public and smacks his gum while he's doing it?
I'm waiting for the trade up in the draft. That's all that's remaining.
Dude,
trade next year's number one to move up and get whoever, And I just wrote a column this morning about how they almost can't screw up this draft. You know why? Because they can take the best player available. You know why? Because they need a player at every single position. There's not a single position on the field that the Saints don't need help. Take the best player available, whoever you want.
When is the last time they haven't had a Pro Bowler?
Well, some of those Hazlitt teams were pretty bad. I'd have to look back, but
Max, your thoughts? You a big Saints guy?
Jimmy, sounds like Charlie's off his King of Sucrose sugar high from yesterday. He's crashed down to earth.
Mardi Gras king cake is pretty good last night.
Learn to respect royalty when in the room.
I would
Max,
just
the king's pissed.
I'll say just talking to some of my friends who are LSU and Saints fans, they're upset that Bo Davis is leaving because, the Saints, we just know at this point are, they have no chance next year. They're one of the worst, have one of the worst odds. It is a helpless feeling. And for someone my age, by the way, the Saints have always been good in my lifetime. The Aints didn't really exist. I barely remember the 05 season.
Oh, they're back.
Good.
They're back.
So they are bad for the first time. For people my age, this is the worst the Saints have ever gotten. And so it is an unfamiliar feeling. And it is weird that Mickey Loomis, who has been around pretty much my entire lifetime, is now just a has-been at this point. He's stubborn, clearly, in his ways. He's stuck. He's not going to change. But there's just so little hope because if you stick with Derek Carr, like even yesterday, there was some noise because Shedeur Sanders was walking around Indianapolis, and he had some hats on the back of his book sack, taking pictures with people, and one of the hats was a Saints hat. Even that little glimmer of hope is like, maybe they'll have a quarterback. And then you hear that Derek Carr is just going to stick around and get his contract kicked down the road.
Throws a nice ball.
Yeah.
United Community Bank with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. We've been serving the people of Southern Louisiana for over 50 years. Our great team of bankers: Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry, and Prentice Wilkes. Again, United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. It's like Colucci. That's like Colucci to pile on the Saints thing.
Cowboy fan? Come on, man.
Did I mention the Cowboys? Did I mention the Redskins or Commandos before this one? I mean, what are the Browns, the Bengals? I mean, what are the other compromised organizations that are lose? They change all the other things, but the one constant is
Uncle Alex, God bless, God rest his soul. Charlie, we go to the games because we have a good time, but the Saints will never be good until John Meekum sells the team. And I didn't know. I didn't believe it. They'll never be any good until Mickey Loomis is gone. That's it.
When do the season ticket holders, I mean, they got to speak up at some point.
The NFLPA came out with a report card yesterday. Gail Benson got a good grade overall, but
she pays them and they upgraded
her weakest
the
grade was, do you feel confident that she wants to feel a competitive team? It wasn't a terrible grade, but it was her weakest among them.
She doesn't know how.
I think she does. She's got the wrong guy.
She doesn't know how.
Yeah, she's blinded by loyalty.
Nice lady, but she doesn't know how to run an NFL organization.
Colucci, when we come back at Walk-Ons live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
While we hook up with Colucci, tell me about this cat that shot a record of 59 this morning.
Napster, baby.
Yeah, Jake
Max's pick.
Yeah, Jake Knapp was as high as 100-1 pre-tournament. He's rolling once again. Finished top 5 last year, and he's set the course record. The course record previously was 61. Now they did change the par this year. It used to be a par 70. It's now a par 71. They made hole 10 a par 5 instead of a par 4. But, yeah, he's rolling right now, and he's got a 4-shot lead already.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
It's
there
time.
He is. Let's go.
It's now Colucci time. Dwayne Colucci is back to give his best picks on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Oh, the perfect guy to bring on right now. Colucci, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well, Jimmy Ott. How you doing, my man?
I'm good. I'm just trying to calm down Charlie. Charlie is super thrilled that, and you know a little bit about this certain quarterback, Derek Carr. The Saints, they make it known he's going to be there for a few seasons, or if not, they're at least going to pay for him. The last place team in salary cap help, but I know the Raiders fans terribly miss Derek Carr as their quarterback, right?
Gosh, well, anything is better than what we had last year. So I'm not going to say that they don't. I mean, it was just a horrible year for the Raiders. But we all know and expect, with Tom Brady now on board, there's got to be some sort of rebuild. But, he's a little long in the tooth now, like we discussed on 2 shows ago. I told you, Kellen Moore, his new head coach, beat him straight up when he was playing for Boise. So, I don't know how long he'll last there. I definitely think New Orleans is in the market for one of the free agent quarterbacks or, via the draft, definitely. But there's so many teams now that are looking for quarterbacks that to reestablish themselves. I mean, the Jets are looking again for the 10th time in the last 12 years. The Giants are in the mix now. You got all sorts of teams looking for quarterbacks, New Orleans. So it's going to be difficult to make a decision, basically.
The Saints, Charlie told me. So the Saints owner, Miss Gail Benson, Tom Benson, passed away. What, about 5 years ago, Charlie?
18, I think it was.
Okay.
2018.
It was 7 years ago, and she's been a real she very philanthropic, generous, charitable, the whole thing. But a little chummy would be putting it lightly with the general manager who's put the Saints in this horrible situation. Charlie's a wise man, Dwayne. Okay, but sometimes I wonder if he should take his own advice, because I said, I'm done with the Saints until this GM is gone. And he says, guess what? You will be 6 feet under. Charlie gets a little morbid at times. He told me that I would be dead before they would make a change. So I said, okay.
So it's like me saying I'm done with the Cowboys until Jerry's done.
yeah, okay.
So we might be both 6 feet under, Jimmy.
But Charlie still got his hopes up, and he said this and that, and they're going to do this, and there's no way, with the numbers, that they can't do this. They can't re-sign Derek Carr. They're going to cut him loose, And, you ever see when Lucy held the football and Charlie Brown. I'm sorry, was it Snoopy?
No, it was Lucy.
It was Lucy.
It was Lucy.
No,
Okay.
it was Charlie
Lucy.
Brown. Yeah,
I knew Snoopy had to be involved
Snoopy's
in
the
this.
dog.
No, he's some kind of involved in this deal, huh? Maybe he had the
Snoopy flew the doghouse. Lucy held the football.
Charlie keeps kicking.
Yeah.
He keeps kicking. Colucci, help my man out, because he's so smart, but he doesn't listen to his own advice.
It's hard to believe, though, that, this is a team that put up the most points like ever in the first 2 games, in the history of the NFL, and then to just fall off the map. And, we know that Carl was injured. We know there's wide receiver, issues, backup quarterback issues. But, it's definitely one of the franchises that's just hovering, just like my Cowboys. It becomes very difficult to get a read on what they're going to do, who they're going to pay, how deep the pockets are, and, eventually somebody has to tell this ownership, these general managers that, smack them in the head with a wet fish and tell them, look, wake up.
Hey, okay, let me bring up another name you might be familiar with and give you another little Mickey Loomis story. Dennis Allen, you're familiar with his work, huh? He was at the Raiders there for a little bit, right?
Yes.
Okay. This guy, this general manager publicly said that, compared him to Chuck Noll and Bill Belichick. Colucci, who would you take? Dennis Allen or Bill Belichick?
Oh,
Dennis Allen or Chuck Noll? You were on the wrong side of those Super Bowl beatings, huh? As a kid,
yeah,
unless Rich Kotite's on your list, you can just stop with Dennis Allen. You're taking the other guy, okay?
Right,
Charlie,
exactly. Give me
Charlie had a king's dinner. Charlie was the king of carnival, okay? The king of sucrose, the crew of sucrose. It's sugar. Charlie likes sweets, okay? So anyway, he was at the king's meal last night. It ruined his dinner. It ruined his night, and all of a sudden, Mr. Bubbly is Mr. Curmudgeon over here. So I'm looking for a little help.
It's not just Derek Carr, okay? It's the constant fluctuation of the roster where you just don't have you don't have any ways to get any talent on a team because you're restricted in who you can sign. Their drafts have been, look at their last 5 drafts. They're absolutely horrendous. There's a few players in there. They didn't go over, but the overwhelming majority of these picks have been guys that can't get on the field or can't play. It's not that Derek Carr is the worst quarterback in the NFL, okay? He's a competent quarterback. If you put him on a good team, a really good roster, if you put him in Detroit, okay, or if you put him in Philadelphia, or if you put him in Miami, okay, with those weapons, Derek Carr's a functioning quarterback, and he's probably the best quarterback that they could have for next year. But you're not going to win anything that means anything with Derek Carr. No. And you can't, and you don't have the mechanism to put the pieces around him to do that while he's still a functioning mid-level. I almost said high level. Excuse me.
He's not a high level. Yeah, he's a backup.
He's mediocre. He could be a starter.
If he was a career, by the way, is 26 and 50.
If he was a free agent on the market, the Jets could sign him and he would start. The Giants could sign him and he would start. There's a few other places, if he hadn't burned bridges, he could start for the Raiders. But he's not going to get you where you need to go. And so why continue to move this money to where you paint yourself in a corner? There's so many guys, I did this column 3 weeks ago, there's so many guys on the roster that they can't even cut if they wanted to because of the way the salaries are structured. This is from my blow it up and start over. They can't. They can't blow it up and start over even if they wanted to, which he doesn't want to. You can't even begin to heal. You can't even begin to heal.
He's a backup at this stage of his career, and yes, he is probably the best starting quarterback option that you guys have right now, but you have to look through the draft. I mean, there's nothing else unless you want to pay a high-price free agent, and then you're talking about a Kirk Cousins or maybe a Darnold or somebody like that.
And they don't have the money to do that even if they wanted to. Yeah.
Right,
even if they
but
wanted
some of
to.
those contracts are lingering. And, it's just it's a tough position to be in. And the Cowboys been there for 30 years.
You just painted, Charlie, you just painted things have been happening forever. So why today all of a sudden you had this epiphany?
Because I really thought that there was a chance that they would move on from Carr, restructure the contract in a way that they could cut him after June 1st and spread the money out and get rid of this cap hit in 2 years. Go with the young quarterbacks next year, sign an inexpensive veteran. And when I say inexpensive, I don't mean Daniel Jones. I'm talking about somebody like Mason Rudolph, okay? Just to have an insurance policy. See if you've got anything in Spencer Rattler. I don't think you do, but make sure. And then set up for next year to draft a quarterback. Get Carr off the books after 26, and for God's sakes, don't trade any draft choices away. Hope that you hit on them, and that's another one of my big things is how did you not revamp the scouting department given their track record since 2020? There's a method to get healed, but it takes some time. They're not even taking the initial steps to do that. They are stuck on the same damn game plan that hasn't worked since
the initial
retired.
step is changing the general manager.
Yes.
And and that's nothing's changing. No foresight, no vision, excuse making, and sort of just not paying attention.
They're acting like they still have Drew Brees, which they haven't had in 5 years. Okay, that's what they're acting like. They're acting like they're building. We got the quarterback. All we need is a couple more pieces. And when Brees was here, the guy's one of the best of all time.
Some more lighter things, Kaluch. How about the hockey game last Thursday night? It was not the result we were looking for. It could have easily been the opposite result. Certainly in overtime, they had their shots. The less heralded goalie was really outstanding for Canada. But, man, there were a lot of casual sports fans that don't really watch hockey a whole lot that were glued into this one, man. It was good stuff.
Yeah, it was great for the sport. It definitely, shows Gary Bettman finally earning his paycheck, to where it's all about viewership, and the NFL will teach you that. So, it attracted a different market that we were looking for, and that definitely is what, creates a buzz. Similar to last year with the WNBA, had the Clark and Reese parity, so that created a buzz. Now you have the U.S.-Canada, which is much stronger than the WNBA buzz. And, it just, I was a little disappointed that Kachuk tried to tough it out. He stole, in my opinion, a roster spot because the guy had to know he wasn't going to play, an adequate amount of minutes to make a difference. So, that was kind of the problem with the roster and Team USA. Plus, you had the Hughes situation where Vancouver wasn't really going to let him play anyway. So, they were short-manned, let's put it that way. But, We had McKinnon to score the first goal, score an anytime goal.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
You got to handicap, guys. That's what it's all about. You may be able to, you bet aside and you want your heart to collect that money, but there's always other options with the prop bets, and that's why, we put so many out at the Rampart and South Point just to create that buzz and to create and generate handle, especially with the NHL. And we had, like 20 guys listed to score the first goal in that game. We had anytime goal scorers, and McKinnon was one of them that was, at one point was plus 220. So, yeah, definitely, if you could take advantage of the props in these situations, you can make money. But this was just great for the NHL. And, once this all gets settled with Russia, and I could definitely see an addition of 2 more teams, definitely a Russian team and maybe a full European team outside of the Finland, Sweden, and Russia countries. So, there's definitely a buzz now in the NHL with this All-Star Nations 4 break. And it definitely is more successful than just a regular All-Star game. I mean, who was paying attention to the NBA, the same weekend with their All-Star breakdown, and then you have their superstar LeBron James just, 10 hours before the tournament, or I'm not playing. So, yeah, the NHL is definitely creating a buzz and trying and, peak out, whereas the NBA is at a massive plateau now. And that's the buzz where they're just, fighting for their lives and fighting to create a buzz that the NHL just did over the past weekend.
We're out of time, Kaluch. We appreciate it, man. Great stuff as always. Happy Mardi Gras to you on Tuesday with that Fairgrounds card. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, I'll text you a pic there, Jimmy. Definitely. Thanks for having me on.
Text me a pic.
Enjoy the Mardi Gras.
There you go. We'll take a time out in Live at Lunch, live at the original Walk-Ons at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Big night in college basketball last night for a couple of teams. How about Vandy's win at Texas A&M?
You give Vandy more credit or dang A&M?
I didn't see the game. I'm going to be completely honest.
No, Vandy's good. Vandy's good.
This was a giant road win. Over a top 15 team.
What's their other road win? They only have one other road win in the conference, right here. So it's a little bit
right,
a little bit bigger. They beat Tennessee at home. They beat Kentucky at home. Yeah. So I think there was another one they won at home. Man, they got beat by like 30 at Oklahoma. So this is by far their best conference road win. And it's just, Charlie, it's just you got to take a spot somewhere. Somewhere you're going to catch a team exhaling up. You just wonder about, after Ole Miss went to Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama, they kind of had a down spot. Florida was sloppy as hell this week. At LSU, you can't give up a 22-2 run against LSU. And then you give up 67% shooting to Georgia in the first 25 minutes of the game.
Yeah. I was just surprised. For Texas A&M, they had lost at Mississippi State, then they lost at home to Tennessee. I thought, okay, you got to get right here. You got to win this game.
True, but they won the close game at Missouri, which was it's a little peak. They're not quite as good as a 2 seed.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, but it's a grind, man.
Vandy be in the tournament for sure. Now, if there was any doubt before about a late slide, they're getting in for sure. Hour number 2 straight ahead here at the original Walk-Ons, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The original Walk-Ons, man. The new menu items that we got a chance to sample here a minute ago. The new sliders are fantastic, man. Some of the new items that they're adding here as we get into, it's going to be a really a nice home slate of baseball games here. But if you're anywhere on campus, baseball, softball, come on by the original walk-ons.
Yeah, so we're excited at walk-ons in all of our walk-ons locations. Starting this Monday, we're going to start trickling out some new menu items. One of those new menu items are the ribeye sliders, sliced ribeye topped with Swiss cheese, caramelized onions, Dijon horseradish with the garlic aioli. I'm talking melt in your mouth, man. You talk about really good. Served with those waffle fries, so that'll be. And then by March 10th, we'll have all of the new menu items will be out. But we're going to start trickling them out little by little. One of those will be the all-new ribeye sliders here from Walk-Ons. And don't forget also Walk-Ons, and man, they can do your crawfish boil. Crawfish season on-site and off-site. Private crawfish boils are available. Contact Dustin at 225-888-3566, 888-3566, or events at walkons.com. Events@walkons.com. So crawfish season off to a great start as well.
And a couple of basketball games left. The women's basketball team will play their final regular season home game this Sunday against Ole Miss, and of course they'll be hosting in the first two rounds of the NCAA tournament. So it's always a good time to come by Walk-Ons and grab a cold one, grab something.
The only
to eat.
two losses at Texas is number one right now.
They are number one right now.
At Texas in a competitive game for sure.
And at South Carolina.
So.
Which was also a pretty competitive game. They ended up losing it by 10, but it was
kind of an arm's length type of game.
Yeah, it was mostly nowhere near the last time they went there.
You know, it was kind of, I think the farthest they got behind was maybe 12, 14, and the closest they got was like 6. You know, it's kind of in that 8 to 10 range a lot.
The last time they went there, the national championship year, there was just a bad matchup for them. It wasn't like that. This year. They were highly competitive. Jimmy, we were talking about Vanderbilt before the break. We thought that they were in, but you didn't want to slide at the end, so that's a big win for them. That gets them in. Oklahoma, though, had an opportunity last night against Kentucky, and if somebody's going to get left out, but we're talking about besides LSU and South Carolina out of the league, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Vandy, those are the next three teams. Oklahoma, they may have to hustle, man. They had a chance to get one against Kentucky last night. They've
lost 6 of 7. I thought it's about as good as it could play. The point guard for Kentucky was back, and I just thought that Oklahoma threw as tough of blows as they could throw, and they still came up a little bit short. To me, minus South Carolina and LSU, to me, this is the weakest team in the SEC.
I agree.
And they go to Ole Miss on Saturday, and I think Ole Miss, who won 3 in a row, now has lost 3 in a row. They're catching Ole Miss at a bad time also. So kind of peek toward that one. I think the line might be close to 7, but I'd be willing to lay it on Saturday in that game. So but didn't they just come out when Shea did that report and talked about LSU near the bottom? Who did he put near the bottom with their basketball budget? Is Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And so, we've kind of followed Oklahoma from from a distant. But now that they're in the league, and you just wonder, man, their crowds are mediocre. There's a lot of empty seats last night in Norman for Kentucky. Now, I still think, Kentucky's coming to your building. When's the last time they've been there? I don't care what their record is.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I would have thought the novelty, they'd be a little bit excited. But it's gotten to a point. I talked to Paul Stone this morning. He's a Texas alum. They don't care. They're way more interested in the football right now. It's like kind of just apathetic is their fan base toward basketball right now. And you kind of saw that at Oklahoma as well. And, do you want to play or you not? And you got to be – there's no reason that Oklahoma should not be more competitive with their roster. They're not near the bottom of their gymnastics NIL budget. Huh?
I was going to ask you. Okay, at Oklahoma, there's some similarities there to LSU. Their gymnastics program has been. They didn't win the national championship last year, but they
don't
won
have the base
5 of the last 8. Okay, in gymnastics, their softball team has won 5 5 of the last 7 national championships. Okay.
Instead of the women's basketball, you got the softball.
They've got softball and they've got gymnastics.
Two minor sports
are the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that soaks up a lot of your spring interest. The baseball team has been okay. Nothing great. Nothing terrible. They were a regional team last year, but nothing over the moon.
Well, what you think? You think their softball budget is near the bottom?
They just built a new stadium. Okay, so no, we checked into her salary. It was, I want to say somewhere about $1.6 million, $1.7 million, somewhere in that area. Yeah. So again, where's your? Everybody wants to be good in everything, but maybe that's not possible, right? So if you're going to be,
I mean, what is your general budget? I think like a guy is it Austin Thomas is in charge of sort of allocating, some of the and how much is just, there's a reason the Gridiron Club was established. Go all the football. There's a reason the coaches committee was created. It goes all to baseball. So how much is you got certain boosters that just only football, only basketball, only baseball, only. I know baseball. You got a few of those. That's Skip Hustle that Johnson has embraced and utilized. Some of the same people, but it's
How many people do you think have to make a decision? The boosters. What percentage of the boosters you take? Not football. That football is different. But if you got to make a choice, I can give it to this sport, this sport, this sport, this sport. How many of them do you think give across the board? And how many of them do you think just give it to the general fund? You guys figure out what to do with it. And what percentage do you think say no? This money goes to gymnastics or softball or baseball or whatever. I have no idea. But if you're at a program that has to allocate resources, you just don't have unlimited money like Texas, then don't you have to kind of pick and choose if the money in the general fund? That's why all these guys are coming up with general managers to allocate the funds within certain programs. We're talking about big names that are going to do this stuff. Woj went to St. Bonaventure to do their basketball stuff. We just saw our friend from the Senior Bowl go to Oklahoma yesterday. Jim Nagy has really built a strong reputation. Taking that job.
What about guy that's been on the show a few times in Lombardi?
Lombardi.
He's with Belichick at North Carolina. As his GM, and
these are important jobs for guys like this to take.
Because listen, and Rohan talked about too that Belichick did not take that job, and we've heard stories about the 100-page report of where outline of what he had of the conditions of the job, and people say, well, how's he going to handle, when the sophomore running back, the mom said, no, I'm not, and after game 3, no, we need more money. Well, no, he's not taking that call. Lombardi's taking that call. Nagy's going to handle that, up at Oklahoma. That's why, to allow the coaches to coach. The coaches are fighting they're tired of raising money, fundraising. They want to coach instead of / recruit or handle the budget, which is constant. Mike Gundy told us, well, he publicized for everybody. He said, no, it's got to stop. It's got to stop. And so it's all new, and some of the veteran coaches are struggling with it. But to a degree, Charlie, you should win across. You have the LSU's not quite Texas, but LSU is their athletic budget is top 10, I would think, and they're not having so much success for so many programs because you
are pretty much good in everything. They put the release out last week. Was it 9 of the 11 sports were in the top 20, and 2 more were in the top 25?
But gymnastics, when they were working out in the field house before Didi's Palace was built, okay, they were good. They weren't like this.
No.
Okay. So once upon a time, the tennis teams were the only teams in the conference that didn't have an indoor facility. Right. They got that, and now they got a low NIL budget too. Well, guess what? Go check out the women. So, you have to, you Arkansas's track and field, they got a bigger budget than, Ole Miss and Mississippi State. I mean, and so Pat Henry won championships here. Why did he leave? Because he had a bigger budget in College Station. So some places, and that's why the Texas, the Floridas, the across the board, they're really good. In some, like Alabama, it's all going to football. And you want to know the percent? The percentage across the board compared to football, it's way higher in football at Alabama than a lot of other schools like LSU.
True, but even Alabama, whose basketball program lacked for years, is now competitive in that arena.
He's got a good coach.
Yeah, and they're paying him now. I mean, I don't. That initial contract was
he
just
had to
what
win
it was,
first.
He did. He had to win,
and that's a hard place to win. And he's gonna. It seems like he's embraced the roster building. He's hustling in some capacity to get his NIL budget because it's not doing it by himself. And I mean, he's one of the younger coaches that this is not all new to him,
right.
So he's embracing it, and they're handling it. He's handling it a lot better than some others. And then you got a guy who's as a veteran as anybody, and Rick Pitino, who's getting it done.
Yeah. Who's the first AD at a major program to say, you know what, I'm going to go hire a good coach, but I'm not going to hire a high-profile, really expensive coach. In other words,
Joe Dean.
And instead take the money that you would spend on a high-profile coach. In other words, North Carolina is paying Belichick what, $10 million a year, something like that. Okay, and they said, listen, instead of paying Bill Belichick $10 million a year, we're going to go find the best mid-major coach we can find for $3 million a year. We're going to take that other $7 million and we're going to put it into NIL. Because I don't think Belichick, at least from what we've seen so far, and it's early, his recruiting impact is not overwhelming. It's not like he can just walk in. Maybe 10 years ago he could have walked into any living room and said, I'm Bill Belichick and come play for me. But now it's, I'm Bill Belichick, come play for me. How much, coach?
Right.
So can't Joe Coach go do that and say, I can offer you more money than if
what kind of success do you think he's going to have there?
I think Belichick's going to be probably about a 9-10 win coach.
Wow, that would be really good.
It's a weak league. I mean,
it is a weak league. It's a weak schedule this year. It was a weak schedule this past year. They were underdogs in 3 games this past year, and all were like right on a field goal or less.
If you asked me to set their over/under for next year, I'd say 9 wins.
Well, you can bet on it.
Yeah.
Because it was 6.5 and got bet to 7.5.
Yeah, I would if you asked me sight unseen, I'd say 9 wins.
To me, and like Max doesn't remember this name, but it reminds me a lot of Bill Arnsparger coming to LSU.
Yeah,
and he was not real interested in recruiting. The recruiting was certainly different, but damn it, they blocked and tackled and were more organized immediately. I mean, that jump from the Stovall to Arnsparger team, it was like, whoa, they were. And
Stovall left him some talent too, but yes, he did get him organized. He was a great fundamental coach.
I mean, North Carolina's never won anything, so yes, the LSU had more, but that was LSU in the early '80s, so it wasn't what we think of now. I mean, they were about a 7-4, 8-3 program then, and. I mean, Charlie Mack went 7-4 how many years, I mean, they were kind of Stovall had his ups and his downs, good
Stovall
year,
had
bad year,
2 good years and 2 bad years.
Yeah. But, man, it was just, instead of this roller coaster ride, man, this thing was, they were just, from football people, I mean, it was a smooth there was a clean club, man. No dumb stuff, no just blown plays, blown aside. I mean, it was a well-coached team.
If you had an Arnsparger today and you said, look, we'll take the NIL money and we'll take care of the recruiting for you. We don't need you to be charismatic and be chummy with kids and chummy with coaches. We'll buy you a team. You just coach it.
You heard what he told him, huh? All my chumminess is used up on this young lady. He's emptied the chumminess on his girlfriend.
Isn't that what they said
Max,
about
what you got?
No, I was just going to go back to your original point about the investment for Oklahoma basketball. The real salt in the wound yesterday, their former player, Otega Owe, has the winning shot, has 28 points. So he was there last year, transfers out of the program because they don't invest enough. Porter Moser in his 4th season in real trouble.
Yeah.
Back to my point.
Where's the updated Jerry Palm or bracketology? Because I want to see if they're out now. I think they're still in.
Isn't that what they're telling Brian Kelly? We know you're not going to beat the bushes and recruit like a madman like Ogeron did. We'll go buy you a team. You just coach it. You know what they're telling him?
Oh, 100%. You know, if Belichick had this thing, and Lombardi said that they had many conversations about, so they were going to be sort of, he was going to bring Lombardi and have him part of whatever he was going to take. Now, obviously, he interviewed for NFL jobs. They probably thought they were going to be at an NFL club before a college job.
Yeah.
But this was the best offer that they had right now, and he brought a whole guide of what the conditions he wanted this job, and North Carolina said yes. And North Carolina is one of those teams. They kind of have a strong athletic department over all teams. They're pretty good in a lot of things. So because their overall budget is just stronger. The thing Paul Stone was telling me too. This is why Texas can swing and miss because they have so many alums that are just super, super wealthy that don't give to the athletics. They give to the academics. Mm-hmm. And so they have a lot of things they haven't even tapped into, and they still have the budget that they have. And LSU's got to they got to hit on a higher percentage of their wealthy alums.
Would you tell me many years ago? It's always going to be somebody richer than you. It's always going to be somebody with a bigger house and a nicer car.
It's just my little credo. There's always going to be somebody smarter, richer, bigger, Son, you got it better than most. That's okay.
Yeah.
Charlie, you got it better than most.
Do the best you can, and
that's all I ask you, Charlie.
Right,
and you try,
and I do,
and you did. You do. You fell on your face with this little mistake, but you did your best. That's all I can ask. I'm going to reward effort, not results.
You didn't see my master plan. See, I knew this was going to happen, so it was giving you an opportunity to gloat. I like you, Jim.
Am I gloating or just being,
Just a little.
You gloat. Thank you, Max. Your job is done for the day. You're great. Yes.
Max, damn it.
Oh, that was perfect.
Don't forget our friends at Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Man, I wish I had these storm windows, these gelled windows, RLS windows that they have at Relief Windows, the original construction of my home. The storm impact windows, when it comes to impact-resistant storm windows for coastal areas, the frame system, laminated glass, and sealant must work together to resist the catastrophic forces applied during severe weather, including hurricanes. So if you're down a little bit closer to the coast, whether it's Mississippi Gulf Coast, Louisiana coast, even the Florida coast, those storm impact windows are a great idea for you at Relief Windows. I used Relief Windows when they redid the wood windows at my home. Hey, this is the place, this is the people you want to call if you have a homeowners association. Your homeowners association requires wood windows. 230-5652, 230-5652, Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com.
Live at the original Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Back here at the original Walk-Ons. Get your crawfish here at Walk-Ons, your crawfish balls here at Walk-Ons. A nice big outside area. Big outside between the beer garden
the patio,
and the
man.
patio.
They got the garage doors open today for sure, man. Nice day. It's been a good weather this week, Charlie.
Yeah, we're looking forward to all the spring sports, man. There's a lot of stuff here. LSU baseball last night with what I think is going to be their most challenging opponent of the non-conference schedule. Playing Dallas Baptist at Globe Life last night. Had a chance to kind of review some things this morning. Didn't get a chance to see the game last night, but the big takeaways for me in watching some of the recap this morning, the Connor Ware went out and really threw the ball well for 4 innings. And they gave up the home run to the catcher Grant J. who's a really good player for Dallas Baptist, a cleanup hitter. But other than that, he was spotless through 4 innings. Zach Cowan, who's a transfer from Wofford, came in, gave up a couple of runs, but pitched okay. We had a guy come up to us during one of the breaks and asked me about LSU's pitching staff, and I said, the real surprise to me of everything that's happened here through the first 2 weeks and change of the season is Kason Evans. Evans has been superb in the outings that he's had so far, and he came in last night. Cooper Williams came in, gave up a couple of walks, so it was a 7-3 ball game. Evans had to come in and get out of that jam. He did. He got a little bit fortunate on a line drive with 2 on that landed in Jones's glove, and he gets a double play off of first base. But he gets out of the jam. He gets a couple of strikeouts in the ninth, and he gets them home. Kason Evans was not somebody that was on my radar pre-conference or preseason to come in and be throwing 98, 99 miles an hour. I mean, there are guys like that. When you look at Maverick Rizzi, he's 6'9", he's 250 pounds. Okay. At Chase Shores, he's 6'8", 240 pounds. Okay. We knew about Anderson. Kason Evans is I'll just say this, a normal sized guy. He's about 6'2". He's about 190 pounds or so, maybe 195 pounds, and he is just throwing absolute gas, man. This freshman from Houston has been the biggest surprise to me so far. And right now, through 9 games, if they had a 1-run lead in the ninth, he's probably who I'd turn the game over to in a conference game right now. LSU had a bunch of hits but left a bunch of people on base. I can deal with that. That's one of the things that pre-conference is for you. 12 hits, you left 15 people on base. They continue to play pretty good defense. I think it was their first error, first error in the field by a non-pitcher last night.
Sounds right, yeah.
They did an error by catcher's interference and one in foul territory. I think last night was the first error, so they played really good defensive ball. Derek Curiel continues to play beyond his years. I think he's the next star here. I'm not breaking any news there. He was very, very highly recruited, but I like him up at the top of the lineup in that leadoff spot. I don't know if that's going to stick or if they're going to, move him into the 2 or 3 hole permanently. And nothing maybe permanently because they're going to juggle a lot of people out there. But, boy, I like him in that leadoff spot.
Well, Curiel's going to stay out there, right? There's going to be a lot
Curiel
of
plays every day. When I say
yeah.
move him, I mean, is he going to bat first, second, or third? That's
I
all.
kind of like Curiel and Jones kind of going back-to-back there, too.
Yeah.
Jones at second. You can't really pitch around him that early, I guess, because I do worry a little bit with the lack of power in the lineup sometimes where they might try to pitch around Jones and just face whoever's behind him. But we'll see how they shuffle the lineup.
I'm also not opposed to seeing Curiel in center field a couple more times. He first game of the doubleheader last Saturday, he was in center. He runs well enough to play out there. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of that. Just gives him a few more options. I mean, he can play in left. I might like to see him a couple more times in center before conference play starts. So LSU gets the win over Dallas Baptist, who's a ranked team, 7-3, and they go into Frisco, Texas for a 3-game set. That is Friday, Saturday,
how
Sunday.
much does Globe Life play differently when Dallas Baptist is used to hitting it too?
I have no idea what Dallas Baptist feels.
Charlie, what do you think of Dallas Baptist? You don't think about the pitching.
No, you think about the hitting.
Okay.
Max knows more about how Globe Life plays than I do.
Bigger park except down the lines. There was one homer that you saw LSU hit barely over the wall, right down the left field line. It's a little shorter
Charlie,
there, but
it plays bigger
big.
than their home park.
Yeah,
sure. So
yeah.
how much is LSU's pitching depth good? How much is getting them out of their comfort zone of playing there? Dallas Baptist is one of the. I mean, when you talk about the mid majors, it's been an evolution of mid majors when it comes to college baseball. When you talk about the best mid major ever was probably Rice, Cal State Fullerton, Wichita State back in the day. Maine used to go to Omaha on a regular basis, but Rice is done. The California schools, and I wouldn't even consider back in their heyday the California schools that the West Coast Conference was a great conference.
Yeah.
It has so many kids playing baseball, and that's before you had, indoor facilities all through the South. that in Texas and that you have now, and they had such a big advantage because they could play year-round and nobody else could because the weather is so consistent in Southern California. But Dallas Baptist, Southern Miss, I mean, who is it? South Alabama, not what they used to. Steve Kittrell, they would make regular trips to either Baton Rouge or Tallahassee for regionals. That's gone. And so, the landscape of it is it's harder and harder for sort of these smaller budget, but they do have a low budget, at Dallas Baptist. So, just one of the better mid-major programs.
And through multiple coaches.
Did they go to one super regional?
No, they've been.
They've never been to super.
They've been to more than one.
I guess. Oh, really?
Yeah, they've been to more than one.
But
super
not to
regional.
Omaha.
They haven't been to Omaha
East
yet.
Carolina. Am I forgetting?
They haven't made it to Omaha yet. They have been tantalizingly close, but they haven't made it yet.
They're a stronger program than Dallas Baptist.
Yeah, they've made it to more super regionals.
Indeed.
Dallas Baptist has done it through multiple coaches, which is impressive because you talked about Rice. Rice was a product of Wayne Graham. They lost before him and they lost after him.
She's a product of Skip Bertman.
No, that's it's a product of Skip Bertman, but guys.
But after
coaches after one,
right.
And Wichita State, after Gene Stevenson left, fell off dramatically. Okay, they've been able to do this through multiple coaches, which is it's surprising to me.
I mean, like Tulane's not a player anymore.
No, they're not. This is not just one coach went in there and he was all world. They
haven't done it for that long. What's their first
it's about
regional
12,
appearance?
15 years. No,
it's 12 years.
12 or so. Yeah.
Okay.
Something.
Jimmy, there were a couple
those
balls that threatened the track, but I don't think it would have changed the game that much. I mean, maybe there would have been a couple that would have been gone in their home facility, but this was a thorough. LSU won thoroughly. Ware and Evans had their pitches going.
Charlie, I try to remind you, guys throwing hard. Young pitchers throwing hard, you better have them because everybody's got them. It's just common now. Everything on these youth pitching, it's so much on velo and spin rate, and you're going to have and some people. There's been some critics as well, but my son being that age and not that far removed from sort of tournament ball and things like that, and everything, this is. No, how many guys does Tennessee have that could throw mid-90s? How many guys does A&M have that could throw mid-90s? How many LSU?
There's guys that can't crack the rotation that would have been the hardest throwers on multiple LSU national championship teams. They can't, crack the rotation on this team. So, yes, you got 7, 8, 9 guys that, are 95 or better.
So but they're at the top. But these guys that don't necessarily look the part are – they're throwing hard, man.
Yeah, Evans at 99, man. He's salty. He's salty so far. We're brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners, because when it comes to retirement, no two situations are alike, so no matter what your age or your income level, Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you. They'll get a plan. Your business partners, your legal team, your tax professionals, everybody will be involved to make sure that your goals are achieved. Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you on a lifetime plan. They've done it for me, so I can vouch for them. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his staff at 337-981-1376 or online, coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, offered through New Age Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Take a break here live at the original Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Thibodaux store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux. You're looking to do some home improvement projects here in the spring as the weather warms up. You don't know exactly how you want to proceed, but you don't want to hire a contractor either. Save a little money and do some of these projects yourself with instructions from the Thibodaux store, because their staff can walk you through some of these projects step by step. They'll tell you what supplies to get. They'll tell you what procedures. This is so much better than dealing with a YouTube video where you can't ask questions. You're not exactly sure how to move forward with these projects. You can save a lot of money, and you can get the job done right. Power tools, hand tools, plumbing supplies, electrical supplies, lumber delivered out of their sister property at the Pierre Part store, which recently celebrated 113 years in business. Grills, along with Cypress furniture, fishing supplies, crawfish and jambalaya pots. It's all at Big Green Egg Cookers as well, all at the Thibodaux store. 900 St. Patrick Highway, and online it's ThibodauxStore.com.
Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Back here, the original Walk-Ons, Burbank and Nicholson.
Don't forget our friends talking about pitching. How about over at Total Diamond Performance at the corner of Burbank and Gardere, our year-round pitching lab. That's right. Looking to take your pitching development to the next level? portable pitching lab will consist of a Rapsodo 3.0 pitching analytics, Edgertronic video, slow motion video capture, and standard video modeled after MLB organizations. Of course, Matt has worked with several different college and pro and MLB teams to kind of learn stuff and craft his, kind of fine-tune his craft and sharing it with the young players today. The tools provided will give your organization and pitching coaches the data and video needed to improve pitching mechanics and optimize pitch design. Best way to get signed up is contact Jacob Doyle. Jacob at tdpbaseball.com. That's Jacob at tdpbaseball.com.
Dallas Baptist first Super Regional in 2011. 3 coaches. Dan Hefner has done the majority of this. I don't want to make out like the other guys went to multiple Super Regionals.
Them years are just flying by now, Charlie.
Yeah, 2000.
First Super Regional 15 years ago. 14 years ago.
That was the year that they played Cal, and they were about to. Cal was about to cancel their program. They were about to shut the program down, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they made a run to Omaha, and they ended up playing Dallas Baptist, and they had to play the games in Santa Clara because Cal didn't have anywhere else to play them. And Dallas Baptist went out there, and Cal ended up winning the Super Regional, and they went to Omaha that year. So that was 2011, and
but Dallas Baptist, they didn't have the resource to even bid, or were they like a 2 or 3 seed and got hot because they probably weren't that highly seeded because they were so new.
Right. That was in 2011. That was only their second trip to the
NCAA
tournament.
Appearance.
Second trip to the tournament at all. And they made a Super Regional again in 2021. They sent them to Columbia in 2000. And
how many times have they hosted?
Let's see, 1, 2, 3. 3 regionals that they have hosted over the years. They're one of those teams you don't want to see come to your place as a 2 seed because they're capable of offensively. Most years they're capable of offensively going out there and making things hard on you.
You look at some of the totals and some of the scores when they get into postseason play. I mean, I think it's them and Oklahoma State that their parks play really hitting friendly.
Yeah.
And, there's some wind involved. I think that's just pretty consistent in those plays. But, I mean, you're talking about some regional totals that get close to 20.
Yeah. The warm weather and the wind blowing out, sure.
Yes.
And you take the over.
Absolutely.
Because it's excruciating to take.
Those Army Navy unders in football, Charlie. You go under. I tell you what, you got to as you transition, talking about styles and stuff like Alabama overs, and you just had your Tennessee under in college hoops, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, against LSU.
They play each other. So, whose tempo is going to win out?
Games in Tuscaloosa, right? Games in Knoxville. Okay. Then Tennessee's got a better chance, obviously, but Alabama just forces you to play that style, man.
Well, you can slow it down. It's easier to slow it down than it is to get an opponent to. It's easier to slow down an opponent than to speed up an opponent.
True. You
got to get your little your point guard that has 1,000 starts to kind of calm down.
Yeah.
You think he gets caught up in it a little bit?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of the most famous games as far as that tempo of all time involved Alabama, except they were on the other end when they slowed Loyola Marymount down in that tournament
pre-shot
game.
Clock.
It was No, it wasn't pre-shot clock. It was.
Yes, it was.
No, that was.
They didn't have shot. Loyola Marymount 1990 didn't have shot clock.
1990. I thought they had a shot clock, but anyway, they were passing up layups in that game.
Was
to
it like
kick
45-second shot clock?
Yeah, that was a 40-second shot clock, but I thought there was a shot clock. I'll check it, but anyway, they were passing up open shots. I'm not suggesting Tennessee.
No, they were
passing up layups.
No, Wimp Sanders. No, we go into control, and they did. And they
game it in the 60s,
50 or something like
64-62, I think, or 64-60. But Marymount was scoring 120 a game back then. So Tennessee wants to play. Tennessee's perfect game would probably be something like 70-65, and Alabama's going to be very hard to keep in that range. They're just going to run, and they're going to shoot. And if they if they make enough threes early and you get behind, then it's hard to stay. It's hard to stay true to that style if you start to fall behind.
So, I went to the game when Ole Miss, and I thought this is one of the weakest Oates coaching jobs that I've seen. They let Ole Miss. I mean, they did not try and speed Ole Miss up at all, and they played. You look at it, it's probably the lowest they've scored in a conference game this year when they lost, and they never tried to pressure them. Nothing to try and up the tempo. They just were content, played half court, and they got beat at home by Ole Miss, which shouldn't happen. And so Tennessee wants you to get in a rock fight. They're going to defend you. It's going to be interesting.
Their low point total in conference play, besides that Ole Miss game you just referenced, is 85.
85 is the lowest.
85 is the lowest.
58 or something in that game?
Yeah, I'm sorry, 80. LSU. They beat LSU 80-73.
And what did they score against Ole Miss?
64.
64. First by 16 points, huh?
I would imagine they're going to go put that Ole Miss film in there, but I don't know. I would. What do you think the total will be? I mean,
you're going to split the difference about 140, maybe 140, 43, 144.
And I would be real tempted to play over in that game because it's not like Tennessee hasn't had some games. The game with Missouri was a game that they played.
No, that was
80s.
at home.
Yeah, but but they're capable of playing a game in the 80s.
That's probably the best they've shot from the floor.
Yeah,
that's where even in a loss. Wait a minute. Tennessee shot the ball well, and you're right there with them at their place. That's when I gained a lot of respect for Missouri. I mean, we know they're going to defend, and we know they go through scoring droughts sometimes. But when they shot like that, and Missouri was right there, I was like, oh, this Missouri team is legit.
Yeah. The other, we talked about A&M and Vanderbilt. We talked about Oklahoma and Kentucky. We had also the late game, BYU and Arizona State. We talked a little bit about that game yesterday. Is Bobby Hurley on his way out?
He has to be.
I would think.
He has to be. I was wrong on that when I lost. Catching like 8 at home. They lose by 10. No, look, it wasn't a three-pointer. The last score was a three-pointer by Arizona State. Go for 13-10. So it wasn't like a horrendous beat.
Yeah.
Like that BS you had in Michigan State last night. Okay.
Led the whole way. Led the whole way.
55-footer. Yes, routine.
Led the whole way.
Exactly. That's why when you're going into overtime, I can't criticize. Some people are criticizing Maryland for shooting too early. Okay, yeah, that's easy. After the guy hits a 50.
They inbound the ball with 8 seconds to go, 9 seconds to go, and he shot it with 2.8, I believe. I will take a shot to win the game with 2.8 seconds. If you get a perfect rebound, you come back and you hit a 55-footer. God bless. Okay, I'm not gonna.
He's a Kai Ziegler. He wouldn't have shot it.
He loses track of the shot clock. He'd have just run the clock out.
He may pay attention to the game clock. He
would have shot too early, yeah.
The game clock he may pay attention to.
One of the most famous point guards in the history of the game lost track of the shot clock in the NBA Finals. Jimmy, you remember the game?
What the
lost track of the shot clock in the Boston Garden. Magic Johnson. It was the 85
I remember when
Finals.
Isaiah and them threw the ball. And that's why, when I listen to people,
it happened to Magic once, once.
He was a pretty high basketball IQ guy.
Yes,
I mean,
the highest of all time. But it happened once. Big game once.
That's what it is. I mean, the way they praise the Kai Ziegler, some of the media, it's like, is he Isaiah Thomas? Am I missing something? He's just not that good. I mean, but I could tell you, if they're going to make a run, he's going to have to play well.
Right.
He's going to have to play well. He can't do his foolishness because he's going to hamstring him. But, I mean, is he going to get over the hump? That's crazy. That program, the Ernie and Bernie show, I know that's really old, Max, but Bernard King and Ernie Grunfeld were two All-American level players on the same team, and they didn't go to the Final Four.
What's the furthest Don DeVoe went with Dale Ellis?
Like Sweet 16.
Yeah.
He never went to a regional final. Pearl went to one regional final, and
Jerry Green had some uber-talented teams that underachieved.
He wasn't good.
No, he was a terrible coach, but he had some really talented teams over there.
Two regional finals is all I can remember. One under Pearl, I think they played Oregon and won on last year with Dalton Connect. The Purdue regional final. That's it.
That was a terrific game.
Now you remember, of course, Barnes has been to a Final Four
with Texas.
That was in New Orleans with Byron Mouton and those guys.
The year Syracuse won it, right?
Yes, but Carmelo and them beat them in the Dome in the semifinal.
How many winning?
McNamara was on fire that tournament.
How many winning seasons in 11 conference seasons has Bobby Hurley had?
He's been at Arizona State for 11 years.
This is his 11th season.
It's funny.
I'm sorry, 10th. 10 seasons.
He's been to like maybe 2 tournaments.
He has been to 3 tournaments.
Yeah, he's a bad coach.
I actually got there one year with a losing record in Pac-12 play. His overall conference winning record is 45%.
He got the player gene. His brother got the coach gene.
Yes.
He is not. If his name wasn't Hurley, he wouldn't have been going along. He's got talent. That team has talent. They have length. They have shot makers. They got guys that, and he does a poor job, man.
3 winning conference seasons in 10 years at Arizona
Herb
State.
Sendek, who was at Arizona State for a little bit, NC State, was, I think, Miami, Ohio for a little bit. Half court, straight. You watch him play at Santa Clara right now? He's had a complete change. A basketball-style metamorphosis, Charlie.
I like that. Basketball-style metamorphosis.
I heard Loomis use that word.
I'm going to go home and stew.
I got some Colucci picks.
Cool.
So Colucci gave us 2 picks. So he was up against it. So he's got the Canadians and the Islanders. So Montreal and the New York Islanders as we get back to playing our regular hockey schedule, NHL schedule, after the they call it Four Nations tournament.
Might be the last time they ever do that.
Real?
Actually.
No.
There will be a different rendition.
Bet me on that.
There will be a different rendition.
Okay.
They'll add nations, but the 4 nations as is probably won't happen.
Okay, that's fine. But that's coming back. You don't have success like that and not roll it back. And, we want to see Russia or some other yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Don't forget our friends over at Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com every Monday. Boy, I got that Supreme Rice. It's either white beans. It's actually Sunday evening. I'll start them. Put the white beans or red beans in a slow cooker with the Holy Trinity, the celery, the onions, the peppers, the bay leaves, the seasoning, all that good stuff. Get you a ham bone. That's really good. Yeah. You know what I did? Did some pork ribs and just put them in a slow cooker. Man, it just came off the bone. Gives a good little flavor as well. Anything like that, man. You talk about really good stuff. Some people put garlic. I'm not so sure about that. But I love my rice. I've always wondered why I could not get restaurant quality rice. I got it. It's the parboiled rice. It's available whatever grocery store you usually pick up your Supreme Rice. Look for the parboiled rice. It is a high-grade, high-quality rice. Our friends, and look, taking care of Louisiana farmers, generational. That's right. We've been doing it for a long time, but also looking out for the future of Louisiana rice farmers as well. Supreme Rice at SupremeRice.com.
Live at the original Walk-Ons. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Max, your Pelicans have won 3 out of 4 now that the games mean absolutely nothing and wins actually
they do.
hurt.
Yeah, they do mean something. They're not good.
Right. Kelly Olynyk has been a good addition for them. They're not getting
I don't want to see him.
They're not getting crushed on the boards now. They play the Suns tonight. This is the first of 2 with Phoenix, who's a mess. But I hope they get it together tonight. The Suns.
Yes.
That is. First time the Pelicans have been out of the top 3 in the draft lottery in, probably all season.
Top 3 all have the same odds to get the number 1 pick.
Right, that's why you got to stay in it. 4 is not